Good morning, everyone. Today is the 27th of August, 2023, and it's Sunday, and we are going to have the Fellowship of Spirit is going to bring you a program that is just going to knock your socks off. And we're glad that you're with us. And I see that Don and Neva are with us electronically today, as well as Susan. And I don't know who the other iPhone is.
Carol.
Is that Carol? Oh, yeah, it is Carol. Carol Littletree is with us also via Zoom. Today we have, matter of fact, Carol's probably going to do our spiritual reading. Is that right, Carol? Yeah, Carol's going to do our reading. Susan Barnes is going to pray in the beginning for us. Fred Brown is going to play for us, and he's going to also give us a message today. So just sit back and relax and enjoy the trip. It's going to be a good one. My name is Ron Holloway, and I'll be your moderator. Jerry is back. Jerry Lord is back, and as well as Sue and Bill. They went to Las Vegas last week to outfit their new store, and so she'll be having letting us know more and more about that they are going into a joint venture to sell a store that's going to augment and expand their stained glass endeavors, which they have done really beautiful work, and they're continuing to do more and more. But we'll give you more and more announcements as they develop. How's that? Okay, so let's see. George's book, he brought copies of his book last week, and there's a couple in there. Are either one of those for sale, or they just?
They're not for sale, they're for loan out of our library.
Loan out of the library. We have 2 copies of his book in our library back in there in the entryway. What else? We have some information. Lisa Marie Jeffries, the alchemist, and the Magpie crystal store over in Aztec. There is some cards out in the entryway with her information. They're really nice ones. What do you have, Jenny?
That's who bought my house.
Oh, I knew that.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I don't know how many.
Yeah, well,
I didn't know that.
For those who don't know, Lisa Marie Jeffries, who has the Magpie and the Crone store in Aztec, bought Jenny and Steve's house. So, and they closed last Monday, and so the house stayed in the family. So it's a good deal. Anyway, all right. So now we're going to have our prelude. And so Take Me As I Am by the Tedeschi Trucks Band, who I've been following pretty closely. I researched Derek Trucks.
Yeah.
And I saw a film on him yesterday. I was watching it when he was 9 years old, and he was playing, I think, with Leonard Skinner. 9 years old, he was playing. He's now probably 40-something.
Yeah, they brought him on stage when he was a little kid.
Yeah. He was keeping up. I mean, he was playing, I think, lead guitar for him. He was doing well.
He's amazing.
He's now rated as one of the top guitarists in the world. So
yes, he is.
Yeah. So anyway, we have the top guitarist in San Juan County.
That's a push.
Oh, what the heck? Trying to give it. There you go.
You got a bunch of pop-ups there, huh?
Man, just those aggravating pop-ups. Fred Brown.
Well, this is probably one of their biggest singles off of their latest album. It's got quite a few gospel-ish songs. This one is called Take Me As I Am. It kind of fits with a little bit what's I'll read to you about and talk about. Obviously, it fits everything that we believe here, the Fellowship of Spirit, and in New Thought and Science of Mind. take me as I am. 'Cause I am just like you, made of the same hand, born of the same land. Take me as I am. I haven't said a word. The dreams I have are real, no matter how absurd. 'Cause life is just a wish some of us hold dear, tethered by a thread, held back by our fears. No matter where you are, there's nothing you can do. It's living love, 'cause that's enough. Take me as I am, 'cause I feel you in my heart. We feel the same space, no matter how far apart. I said, take me as I am. For I am just like you. You're a part of me, and I'm a part of you. Oh, why can't we share all this whole world? There is always room for those who dare to love. Meet me with a smile, and I will be your friend and care for you until the end. Take me as I am, 'cause I am just like you. Oh, you're a part of me, and I'm a part of you. Oh, don't you take my life, 'cause I'm made of the same sky, and we share the trail of tears, and way too many years. Take me as I am, 'cause I'm a part of you. Come with me now, be with me here. Take me as I am.
All right. Thank you, Fred. I've seen Derek Trucks play a lot, but he doesn't sing. It's his wife who's singing. Her name is, what's her first name?
Susan.
Susan Tedeschi. And she's the one, they're both, together they make a wonderful performance. They really do. So if you get a chance, check them out on YouTube. Okay, Susan, are you ready for our opening prayer?
Yes. Okay, if we could close our eyes, be centered, take a deep breath, feel that energy in our body and release. Creator, Mother, Father, God, we give thanks for this wonderful day, for the opportunity of being together, for the opportunity today of learning about a prophet of love. For in a way, we should all be prophets of love of yours, your love that surrounds us, that brings us peace, that helps us to understand every situation, Rather, it seems to be challenging or to be positive, but to know that it is sent to us for our greater spiritual awareness. We give thanks for each and every person, not those that are just here, but those in our families, those that we love, for those that we touch every day with our smiles, with a handshake, with a hug. We give thanks that they are in our lives to bring us greater spiritual awareness. And now we ask that we open our hearts and our minds to all the wonderful things that are going to be shared this hour together. So it is. Namaste.
Thank you, Susan. Okay. And we have another song, Amazing Grace. We know that one. It's on number 16.
Why didn't it spell 16 or 14?
Yeah, well,
In
here
the
it
brown
says,
book.
in the brown book, it says 16.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Oh, I was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, now I see. Was grace that taught my heart to feel, and grace my fears relieved. How precious still that grace of Him. The hour I first believed, as I sing Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. Well, I once was lost, but now, Lord, now found. I was blind, but now I see. Well, through many dangers, toils, and snares, I already have come. 'Tis grace Yes, I know that grace will lead me home. I sing amazing grace. How sweet is your sound. You saved a soul, oh, so like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see.
All right, Fred. Okay, join with me in a reflection moment. Love produces a flow of energy that I now feel. I love others more than ever, and I feel privileged to be here. Love flows from one person to another as we create an atmosphere of holiness, and so it is. Okay. Carol, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Go for it.
Good morning.
Good morning, Carol.
Okay, this is from Helen Stein. It's a last minute idea. Okay, this is called The Legend of the Raindrop. Since we've had so many raindrops lately, the legend of the raindrop has a lesson for us all. As it trembled in the heavens, questioning whether it should fall. For the glistening raindrop argued to the genie of the sky, I am beautiful and lovely as I sparkle here on high. And hanging here I will become part of rainbow's hue, and I'll simmer like a diamond and all the world to view. But the genie told the raindrop, do not hesitate to go, for you will be more beautiful if you fall to earth below. For you will sink into the soil and be lost a while from sight. And when you reappear on earth, you'll be looked on with delight. For you will be the raindrop that quenched the thirsty ground and helped the lovely flowers to blossom all around. And in your resurrection, you'll appear in queenly clothes with the beauty of the lily and the fragrance of the rose. And when you wilt and wither, you'll become part of the earth and make the soil more fertile and give new flowers birth. And there's nothing ever lost or eternally neglected, for everything God has made is always resurrected. So trust God's all-wise wisdom and doubt the Father never, for in his heavenly kingdom, there is nothing that is lost forever. So that was a last minute idea.
You couldn't tell it by us. Thank you, Carol.
Welcome.
How's all of your family and your husband? Is his health good?
He's doing fairly good, about the same. Yeah. He's still trying to get around, do stuff. Yeah.
That's good. Our love and prayers go out to every one of them.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Now we have another song. Let it be.
Let's do it. See, it actually sounds good. Let's have a little note that says, try it with a capo. No.
I think you should use your guitar.
Yeah, there we go, right?
I don't know why they call this a capo, but it must be one of those Italian words for squeeze it real tight or something like that. I'm not sure. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. In my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in this world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. Though they may be torn, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. When the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. Wake up to the sound of music and Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. She says, Fred, let it be, let it be, let it be, boy, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be.
All right. Thank you, Fred. Now, we're gonna have more Fred.
Fred on steroids.
Now, yeah, Fred actually accompanying Fred, so,
Fred accompanying Fred.
yeah. There you go. Well, Fred Brown is a valuable asset of this fellowship. He is a wonderful person. He plays our music. He comes and shares from his heart and from his experience with us occasionally. And we treasure him and all that he does for us. And so he's got a long resume. I don't have it in front of me and I can't remember it, but I know he's done a lot of things, been a lot of places, and seen
Too
a
many
lot of
things,
people,
too
and
many
he's
places.
sang a lot of songs. So here we are. Give us a hand for Fred Brown.
And for all you, Anyway, this is as much of a talk as it is just sharing something. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the prophet and Kahlil Glbran. I wanted to read this a little bit. How many people own a copy of the prophet or have owned a copy of the prophet? You never had one, Jerry? Nor of you, Shay? Oh, I need to buy you one. I will buy you, and that'll be one of the gifts. I'm gonna buy a couple, and I'll give you one. It might take about 5 days, but I'll get you one. They got one like this little, and they got one with a lot bigger print. But this one's the latest edition, and it's got a new forward, a real touching forward by a man named Rupi Kaur, and I don't know who he is, but I won't read it because it'll make me cry. So,
Is it by the guy that's listed here?
huh?
By this guy?
No.
No.
He's a writer that wrote this. This is about the 13th printing, I think, or in the 9th Penguin edition of this book.
He lived in the early 1900s.
Yeah, Kahlil Glbran, actually, his name is Glbran, Kahlil Glbran. Most people just know him as Kahlil Glbran. He was born in Lebanon to an American mother and a Lebanese father. He spent some time in Lebanon and went into matrical school, and then went over to New York City, where he went to Columbia University, studied English. He was a poet, a painter. He's one of the very well-known impressionist painters at his time. He was born in 1880 something, and he died in 1935, which put him somewhere around 43, 44 years old. He died fairly young. He died of tuberculosis. So that was the main cause of his death, that he didn't commit suicide, thank God, or drink himself to death like some of the great artists. He was very well known in the art scene and in the writing scene and in the academic scene for his studies on Sufi writings and teachings. And that's what kind of led me back to Kahlil Glbran, as I've been recently taking a deep dive on YouTube and some books that I can find. They're hard to find here in the Western press, but Sufism, as people may say. Why is it an ism? Because there's a whole group of different Islamic teachers that came about in the early, I'd say they call it what they call the Renaissance of Islamic culture, but was also what we would consider in Europe the Dark Ages. When the Moors pushed out of Turkey and Persia and Turkey, they went all the way to Portugal. A lot of people do not realize that, but that Spain itself and Portugal was ruled for almost 400 years, coming from North Africa.
Most of Europe.
And most of Europe was ruled by Islamic governors, caliphs they called them. And Spain was called Al-Andalus for about 700, 800 years. And in that part of I guess you'd say, the Islamic world, came out a lot of prophets, or not prophets, let's say teachers, which they considered Sufi teachings. And Sufi teachings, if you get into it, it's really amazing in the sense that they were some of the originators of another thing that has affected all of our lives and continues to. And well, every time you pick up a phone or watch one of them shoot a rocket into space, something called what? Algebra. And the interesting reason that algebra what is algebra? A basic synopsis, it's solving for an unknown property, all right? Trying to figure out what something you do not know is. And by logical deduction, that's all algebra really is solving for an unknown object. So it's basically an early practice in numerology and metaphysics. And George was talking about metaphysics the last time he was here, last Sunday. I like to define metaphysics as everything we believe in that we cannot touch, that we cannot feel. Metaphysical is that which we believe to be true, those currents, those things, those experiences that we can neither take a picture of or touch.
Everything beyond the
Everything
physical.
beyond the four senses, I guess you
physical,
could say, right? The fifth dimension. Because what is the fourth dimension? We know what the three dimensions are, right? Well, the fourth dimension is time. Some people don't know that. And time is a constant that goes always forward and never backwards. So in modern physics, even quantum physics, time travel is not even theoretically possible to the past. So a lot of that stuff that we read in science fiction and all those great romance books,
not going to ever happen because we are continually moving forward. This planet, this universe, this galaxy is continually expanding. The place we were literally in 10 minutes ago, we've moved past. We were in a constant, ever-changing forward. Bam. Back to the metaphysical and algebra and Sufi Islam. He was a Sufi scholar and one of the very first to bring to light some of the, and help translate some of the great writings of some of this. Because Sufi in modern Islam is verboten. It is kind of like Gnostic teachings and things like that. They persecuted, killed, imprisoned, and stomped out Sufi beliefs for about 400 or 500 years. Kind of think about it kind of like the Catholic purges of the Inquisition. And why is that? Because Sufi Islam was into numerology, it was into talismans, it was into studying other religions. It was into opening your mind to other possibilities. It was incorporating Zoroastrian beliefs and numerology and finding coincidence and meaning between Islam and the stars, Islam and life, Islam and architecture, Islam and music. There are still some places in North Africa where there are some Sufi enclaves. One hallmark of Sufi Islam is women play a primary role in the religion. Music and chanting plays a primary role in worship. Art is considered holy. So anyway, getting back to all of that in Sufi, that's where Kahlil Gibran comes in. And he was very fascinated with both, of course, the idea of Sufi Islam. And one of the really cool things about Sufi Islam is that every Arabic, you know how we've had the Kabbalic talks and stuff about it, and the some of the what was that? Your buddy talking about the numerology that is embedded into every Hebrew word. Well, guess what? That's
Mark Ono.
Mark. Well, guess what? That's the same with Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
There is a number assigned to every Arabic character. And in that numerology, they found the oneness of belief. And that was another reason that modern Islam, or I guess you say reformist Islam, did not like that, is because they discovered unity in Sufi beliefs.
There's a lot of story. They taught a lot with stories, you know, and a lot of their stories had humor in them. They really valued humor, exactly. and the stories would have a humorous ending. It was really neat.
Yeah, it is an amazing thing. There's a lot of stuff. If you dig deep, there's 3 or 4 esoterica channels, Religion for Breakfast. There's some great YouTube channels that dive deep into these subjects. But getting back to here, talking about Kahlil Gibran and the Prophet. So this is not, and it was a book that he wrote. He worked on this writing for about 10 years. In it, he really loved the poetic language of the King James Bible. So when he wrote this, you can see some use of adjectives before nouns, nouns before adjectives type of stuff that really appealed to a lot of people in the Christian world. So let's just get into it really quick. What is the backdrop of the subjects of the prophet? As it is a man who he was from a different land. He came to a town and a city to be a teacher of peace and culture to this new city. He'd lived there for 25, 30 years, and it was time for him to leave. And he was kind of an ascetic, kind of like in the prophet mode. He lived by himself. He took care of himself. He once in a while would come into town and teach. He would go at all the festivals and do weddings and stuff for the people. He was not of them, but he brought light and love to them, and now it's time for him to leave. And so the way the book starts is he's leaving his little I guess you'd say his little abode or his little house on the hill, and he's walking towards the town because when he looked out, he saw the ship from his land that he'd been waiting for. He sent him a letter, said, "Hey, it's time for me to go home." And he could see in the distance the cut of the sail, and that's a ship from his land. So this is his ship, and it's time for him to go. So he's walking down the hill, and as he walks down the hill, he enters the town, and all the people are coming to see him before he leaves. And that one of the head teachers of the town, of the people, her name was Almitra, and she was considered the priestess of the town. And so she asked them, "Please, before you leave, will you talk to us about certain subjects?" And the first one in the book is about love. And it says, "Then said Almitra to the prophet, 'Speaketh us to love.' And he raised his head and he looked upon the people, and there fell a stillness upon them. And with a great voice he said, 'When love beckons to you, follow him. Though his ways are hard and steep, and when his wings enfold you, yield to him. Though the sword hidden among his pinions may wound you. And when he speaks to you, believe in him. Though his voice may shatter your dreams as the north wind lays waste to the tethered garden. For even as love will crown you, so shall he crucify you. Even as he is for your growth, so is he for your pruning. Even as he ascends to your height and he caresses your tenderest branches that quiver in the sun, so shall he descend to your roots and shake them in their clinging to the earth. Like sheaves of corn, he will gather you unto himself. He will thresh you to make you naked. He sifts you to free you from your husks. He will grind you to whiteness. He kneads you until you are pliant, and then he will sign you to a sacred fire, that you may become sacred bread for God's sacred feast. All these things shall love do unto you, that you may know the secrets of your heart, and in that knowledge become a fragment of life's heart. But if in your fear you would seek only love's peace and only love's pleasure, then it's better for you that you cover your nakedness and pass out of love's threshing floor into the seasonless world where you shall laugh, but not laugh all your laughter. You shall weep, but not all of your tears. Love gives not but itself and takes not but from itself. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed. For love is sufficient unto love. When you do love, you should not say, 'God is in my heart,' but rather, 'I am in the heart of God.' And think not that you can direct the course of love, for love, if it finds you worthy, will direct your course. Love has no other desire but to fulfill itself. But if you have love and must needs have desires, let this be your desire, to melt and be like a running brook that sings its melody to the night, to know the pain of too much tenderness, to be wounded by your own understanding of love, and to bleed willfully and joyfully, to wake at dawn with a winged heart and give thanks for another day of loving, and then to rest at noon and meditate on love's ecstasy, then return home in the evening with gratitude, and then to sleep with a prayer for the beloved in your heart and a song of praise upon your lips." There's a lot there. And the thing I wanted to share a little bit about that is this is probably the 4th or 5th copy that I've owned. I tend to read them. I'll read it. We can go to the next part, because the next part's about marriage, and then there's parts about government. It's reminiscent of some of Confucius's work and some of the Tao Te Ching, in a sense that it speaks to specific situations, I guess you'd say, in our lives.
Aspects of our life, I suppose.
Yeah. And one thing that's true throughout all of this little wonderful treasure is the thought that you are not the most important thing in the subject. Your relationship
to love, marriage, life, the government, law, music, everything is as much dependent upon your attitude, your objectivity. And like you said, if you want to be in love just for the sake of the pleasure of love or for these things, then it's probably better you turn around and walk away, because it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt a lot because you have an expectation, right? It's not objective any longer. It's subjected to what you want. And that's part of the deeper meaning that we all seek, right? And the metaphysical, right? So for me, when I first came across this, it was probably in the late 90s. And I thought, wow, this kind of sounds very gospel-y, very Jesus, and kind of breezed through it. I loved the poetry, and it didn't really mean that much to me. In the 2000s, I got a second or third copy of it and really dug deep in to trying to find something metaphysical in it. And as my relationship with love and life has changed, so does what I read in there change. But what always struck me is in the end when he speaks of, if you have any desire that you want in love, out of love, then let it be this, to be like a running brook, a stream that sings its song to the night. And that imagery is both beautiful, lonely, nourishing. Because for me, seeing, coming from the desert, I'm from El Paso, Texas. We don't have a lot of water, and if we do, it's not very pretty. And when I'd come up here as a young boy, spending time by the lakes and the rivers, there was always something so refreshing and so connecting and so grounding. And to this day, it still is. And I think all human beings are definitely attracted to water for the same reasons. That's why I love taking walks in Burke Park, or the Animas Park. It's not so great in Aztec, but that Burke Park has become such a jewel for this city. And it's such a refreshing break, just to turn your phone off and down and go take a walk for a couple of miles and listen to the water and the water running. And what speaks to me more nowadays in my life is the very beginning of this book when he's walking down. There's a little part here where he's walking into the town and he's thinking. And he said to himself, shall the day of my parting be the day of gathering for all these people? Because he can see all the people running around. And he said, and shall it be said that my evening was in truth my dawn? And what shall I give unto him who has left his plow in mid-furrow, or to him who has stopped the wheel of his winepress? Shall my heart become a tree, heavy laden with fruit, that I may gather and give unto them? And shall my desires flow like a fountain, that I may fill their cups? Am I a harp, that the hand of the mighty may touch me, or a flute that his breath may pass through me? A seeker of silence am I. So what treasure have I found in silence, that I may dispense with confidence? Is this my day of harvest? And in what field have I really sowed a seed? And in what season that I can't remember? If this indeed be the hour in which I lift up my lantern, it is not my flame that shall burn therein. Empty and dark shall I raise my lantern, and the guardian of the night shall fill it with oil, and he will light it. So when I approach music, that is really, I do practice the songs in repetition, practice. It's a lot easier to perform. But the truth is, a lot of times, I'll just let it happen. sometimes it's really, really good. And it's good for me, and it's really good for you, as I can tell. And that is sometimes the most amazing thing about performing music or speaking or trying to help or impart light is to just let it happen, to just let it be, to not get in the way too much, to not overthink a situation. I think up here, as we all know, our ego has a lot of different faces and has a lot of different voices. And it's an essential part that keeps us in this world, keeps us productive, keeps us in the social machine. And, you know, a lot is said, I think, in New Thought about how ego is a bad thing, but it's not a bad thing. I think that's a misapplication of the truth. Your ego is not a bad thing. If it wasn't for your ego, none of us would be here. What you think you are is as important as what you are. And the truth is, I think in finding a balance in life and in love, it's taking what you think you are and what you are and bringing those two things into focus as one. Because that, I think, is where true peace is found. You know, and I say, do things that you love and experience the things, you know, find a job that you have passion for, you know. That really is a wonderful thing to say, and it's glorious that we can give that to children and to each other, but it's not always true. You're not always really good at the things that you're passionate about. I'm not always very good at some of the things that I'd want to do. I'd love to be a carpenter, but I'm not always that good at it. So I don't always cut on the right side of the line, you know. Maybe it has something to do with my eyes, but I don't know. Doesn't, you know, so just because you love, you know, we have that ability and that privilege, doesn't always make it real. So finding what your true passion is and reconciling that with what you truly are, there's peace, there's love. There's a running brook under the open starry sky, singing its song to the night, as it says. And anyway, so I'm going to get you guys a couple of copies. I'll leave a copy here. They're not very expensive. And I'll leave a couple of copies here at the church.
Yeah, all right. I'm sure the copyright ran out quite a long time ago.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
Right.
got cheaper. Yeah,
Anyway, namaste.
Look, there might be one in there.
I'm sure there is.
I don't know. I looked in there. I didn't see
You
one.
didn't see one. Okay. Yeah. About the importance of harmony, because that's what you were talking about actually, is no matter, you know, what our desires are, what our imagination is, what the reality is, if we can find harmony with those, that's where peace and
Truth.
balance lives, is in
harmony.
that's what we can strive for, is harmony. Harmony with the universe, harmony with God, harmony with each other. If we can, that's what we really should strive for, I suppose, rather than, you know, a destination. The journey is the harmony, and that's the most important part.
That's funny. There's this, you know, we have all these weed dispensaries. The other day, it was a Saturday, and I had to go get some medicine. So I go into the store, and there's one guy there, and I'm a creature of habit. I'd never seen this guy, and he looked a little woolly, you know, and he had this shirt on, and it said "Save the Terps." Okay, so I'm
Terps with a P?
Terps, T-E-R-P-E-S. Now,
T-E-R-P-S.
short, what that is, terpenes are the things that are the different, I guess you say cannabinoids that are inside marijuana.
Oh.
And different strains have different levels of different terpenes, you know. So I look at the guy and I say, hey man, that's pretty funny. And I'm thinking, you know, save the whales, save the turtles, you know, save the terps. This guy goes off. Oh man, he goes, you know, I really, you know, I'm not really normally in here. I'm usually a grower, you know, and then my thing is really, you know, he goes, you see all that, everybody's looking at the numbers, but it really, they have these little things about all the terpenes and what they'll do for you, relaxation and all this. He flips this thing around and shoves it in my face.
He goes, "It's not about the destination, it's about the journey."
One application.
Yeah.
Save the turfs.
There you go. All right. Thank you, Fred.
You bet, you
All
bet.
right.
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone have something that they'd like to share with Fred? Well, Fred, we appreciate it. It was really good. I've been exposed to a little bit of Sufi stuff, and in masonry, we study, you know, a lot of different things, not at the level here, but when I go to Santa Fe and up there, we study a lot about all religions, and that's where a lot of the Kabbalah, the Jewish teachings, the, you know, Christian, all the teachings, as well as political abuses over time, that we study those things. And that's one of our degrees that is a Sufi degree.
See,
And so, you know, and
it is important.
It is,
Actually,
it's
there's
really
some
good.
very beautiful poetry. You know, unfortunately, I don't read Arabic. I wish I did. The translations are great, but you know, it has, Arabic has that same issue with translation in English that Hebrew does, which is why I think, you know, I can understand now why the Catholic Church didn't want anybody to read the Bible, because we misinterpret all of it, which has been happening.
Much is lost in the
God, it's
interpretation.
happening a lot nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, and not all, Arabic has that, where one word, if you break it into modern English, it's almost a sentence. And if that one word is behind another word, right, then the sentence
Changes everything.
changes everything. See, and so Arabic is interesting. Now, when it's spoken, it's a very it's a very melodic language. It can be a very melodic language when spoken. So, you know, it's not something that we get exposed to a lot, but it can be the very melodic language, kind of like Spanish. Not as, I wouldn't say as good as Latin is, though. Spanish is, with the O's and the A's, is just built for poetry. So, Spanish and Italian are just some of the most beautiful languages to write poetry in. So, anyway.
Well, thank you, Fred. We
All right.
appreciate-
Yes, I would like to thank Fred so much, because he opened my mind to a lot of things that I had no knowledge of, and that's always interesting. And makes me want to look further into all of this. And of course, Ron, as you were saying, it's all about balance and harmony, which is what we always talk about anyway.
And
And thank you, Fred. It was really a wonderful talk. Really enjoyed it.
thank you.
I think a lot of times that we get, or we're sort of seduced into tunnel vision, in that thinking that that all of the wisdom and all of the advances in our culture has come through the Christian thing, because we are basically a Christian culture in America. But there are other cultures that have contributed as much as our culture has. You know, I mean, Buddha and Hindus and all of those people, they all have a different way of looking at the world, and they have resolved problems through that genre. And they're not less than we are. They're not. Each one has its own value in its own time. But I think we make a mistake if we just look at things one way, you know, because we have all these other ways of looking at the same problem and perhaps finding better solutions. You know, I mean, and like you said, at one time, the Moors, you know, they dominated in Europe and
Africa,
North
North Africa,
all from North Africa,
Turkey, all the way
all the way
to
up to-
France.
yeah, and so that for hundreds of years,
Yep.
that was the dominating force.
And you know, to put that in perspective, when you're talking about 600 years of culture, that's 3 times longer than the United States has been a country.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's something that we, you know, I think that cultural influence is endemic. And if not for it, we would, you know, some say that if it wasn't for the Moors invading Spain and starting to push into Europe, that the Dark Ages probably would have continued a lot longer in Europe, because they put pressure and they brought stability and peace to parts of Europe that hadn't seen it in hundreds and hundreds of years since the Romans. And so there's a lot to be said. And I know that it's a real culture clash, and we see it, as especially since 9/11 and, you know, the Afghanistan and Iraqi war, and the one I was involved in before that. And I know a lot of the attention has shifted to the Baltic states as far as the political outlook and all this, but we tend to look at that area as strange and as foreign and as alien almost, and I understand that. But here's a real interesting thing: is if you look into the development of our language, it all goes back to the areas of Mesopotamia. So Egyptian, Coptic, Hebrew, Arabic, English, Latin. We all come from a source, the same source, the same people.
And you know, we think of
6,000
we
years
think-
separate us, you know what I mean?
We think of the influencers, but there's the cultures that have risen and then disappeared from the planet. Take like, you know, the archaeological things that we find. Göbekli
Sumerians,
Tepe existed 10,000 years ago.
Yeah.
And all we have is the artifacts. We have nothing about their culture. And so, I mean, they had great influence over their world.
That's in Turkey.
Yeah, it's in Turkey, southern Turkey, and, you know, the Mayans in South America. We you know, there are different cultures that rose up, influenced the world, and then disappeared. What was, you know, and then we don't know what they did.
Well, the people are still there. It's like the Mayan civilization, where the Mayan people are still there. They're the villagers and the people that live in the towns and cities in southern Mexico. But their great civilization was gone by the time they returned to subsistence farming.
Right. They're just a shadow of
By
their
the time the Europeans
civilization.
showed up, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you, Fred.
You bet.
We appreciate it, Bubba.
My pleasure.
All right. So now Fred is going to sing us a song.
All right, more Fred.
Yeah, more Fred. We can't get too much Fred. So this one is "There Is Joy in My Heart," number 344.
Well, there is joy in my heart and a smile on my face. 'Cause I love the world. There's a song on my lips, love the whole human race. And I love the world. Hear my spirits are singing, feel happiness winging, like bells that are ringing on high. God is here everywhere, joy is filling the air. 'Cause I love the world. I love the world. There is joy in my heart and a smile on my face. 'Cause I love the world. There's a song on my lips, love the whole human race. 'Cause I love the world. Feel my spirits are ringing, feel happiness winging, like bells that are ringing on high. God is here everywhere, there is filled in the air. 'Cause I love the world. I love the world. I love the world.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Fred. Just perfect. Okay. So now it's time for us to celebrate our abundance. So put over our hearts that which we intend to contribute, and so, follow me. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive through infinity. I am prosperous. Thank you, Bill. Okay, I want to remind everyone again that we have a couple of books that George Harris brought to us last week, and they're out in our library to be used and checked out like the other books. They're not really for sale, but they are to be checked out and brought back. Yeah, George has got them for sale. Like I said, Sue and Jerry have got this new endeavor that they just got back from Las Vegas buying supplies for. We are anxious to hear. Are you not ready to make a presentation on that? Probably, are you? No, but they are going to, well, we want to help them. You know, we do. We support each other in our endeavors. And so it's a work in progress. It all came from their stained glass endeavors, and so it's got to be beautiful because their stained glass is beautiful. So anyway, so we're anxious to hear about the progress on that. Lisa Marie Jacobs over in Aztec has we put a card out there. So if you're interested, there's information on the entry desk. So does anyone else have a announcement that they'd like to make? Jenny?
It starts tomorrow at 5:30, no, Tuesday at 5:30 at the First Presbyterian Church. Currently, we're moving the venue for practice there. So First Presbyterian Church.
Is there
I'm sorry, I guess I don't have my t-shirt place anymore.
is it a presentation or
Tuesday at 5:30 at the First Presbyterian Church at Fest.
is it a presentation or are you going to start practicing?
Practice.
Sign up and start
Okay,
practicing.
if you are interested in being in Caliente, go to the Presbyterian Church tomorrow at 5:30, Tuesday at 5:30, sign up and loosen your vocal cords and start singing and become part of the choir. How's that? Okay, yes, Margaret.
Potluck next Sunday. Potluck.
Potluck is next Sunday. This is the last Sunday of the month. So that means that next Sunday is the first Sunday of the month. So we're going to have potluck next Sunday. You got it.
Children's group will be starting next week.
What?
The children's group will
Oh, the children's group will start next Sunday. So if you have a child, bring them and we'll have a program for something for them to do. Okay? What else?
Congratulations, Jenny.
Oh,
Well,
oh.
thank you all for your support. Oh my gosh.
Well, that you probably couldn't hear that, but that was a congratulations to Jenny on selling her house and getting that. That's been an endeavor that's been an ongoing thing, and it is now completed. And so now they can actually start the next phase of her life. On Thursday. Did you close?
Oh no, I closed, but Thursday I'm gonna take off in the RV.
Oh, you're going to leave it in the RV. Okay. All right. So thank you. So now Bill's going to give us a closing word.
Good morning, everyone. Trusting yourself. As soon as you trust yourself, you'll know how to live. Johann von Goethe. So much for our day-to-day tensions and stress comes from our own uncertainties. We're not sure we'll make the right choice or that we'll be able to complete the task at hand. We worry about making mistakes. As we grow to trust our own capacity and the ability to choose wisely, decisions are easier. Life begins to be fun the moment we quit scrutinizing ourselves so harshly and release ourselves simply to try. The path becomes clear. Probably another way to put this in to look at it is when we can tamper down the ego, the ego likes to second guess us all the time. Tell us that we're not doing good enough, we're not right. So as we tamper down that ego, our life does become better. So the nugget to walk away is, I trust my judgment and my abilities. There are big choices ahead, but I have what it takes to make them. I will enjoy the process. God bless, and everybody have a great week.
All right, thank you, Bill. Well, Bill and I got the memo on our shirts today. We both wore Hawaii type shirts, so I don't know. Anyway, it's all good. It's all good. And we are grateful for fellowship of spirit and this opportunity for us to come together and to join and to just be in relationship with one another and celebrate our family. So let's get together and get our circle and sing ourselves out of here.
They really are. Huh? I scared you with those blue suede shoes. Blue suede shoes. Yay! You and Elvis. Yeah. They're actually grounding shoes. They have a little plug in them. Ooh. Yeah. Never heard of them before. I thought that was bigger. Oh, you can take the plug out? No, it's built in. Oh, okay.
1, 2, 3.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Weave us together, weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together, weave us together in unity, and yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as our power, family all are we. So let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
It's a disco music. 11:11.
You know what that is? I have set my phone 3 times a day to meditate on gratitude. And that was 11:11 is what it is.
It's a gratitude time.
Gratitude time, it's gratitude. I know when that goes off, it's about
Time to
gratitude.
meditate.
So, anyway, may God bless you and keep you until we meet again.
And you as well.
So, we enjoyed it today. Glad that you had a good time, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye. Have a great week.
Friday to Saturday.